Welcome to the Oddcast, where truth, myth, and mystery collide. Today's story takes us back more than half a century to a scorched summer afternoon in 1967 in the quiet, flat farmlands of Pamlico County, North Carolina. A place where nothing much ever happened. But for one boy, 14-year-old Ronnie Hill, something did. Something that would echo through the rest of his life. It was July 21st, a Friday. The kind of heavy, humid afternoon where the air sticks to your skin and the sun burns like a torch. Ronnie was outside, wandering the edge of the field behind his house. He was barefoot, shirtless, a kid with nothing better to do, until he caught a whiff of something strange. He would later describe it as sharp, like burnt wiring or chemicals, metallic, acrid, like propane leaking from a tank. The smell made his nose itch and his eyes sting. It was wrong, out of place. There was no smoke, no flame, just that smell and a sudden, eerie silence. The cicadas had gone quiet. The birds, too. Not even the wind was moving, just stillness. Thick and unnatural. Ronnie did what any curious teenager with a brand new Kodak camera might do. He ran inside, grabbed it, and came back out, determined to find the source. That's when he saw it. About 30 yards out, sitting low in the grass like a dropped pearl, was a white sphere. Smooth, seamless, roughly the size of a small car, maybe 9 feet across. No seams, no lights, no markings. Just sitting there, perfectly still. And then, movement. From behind the sphere, a figure stepped into view. Ronnie would describe it as humanoid, but off. It stood on 2 legs, tall and lean, with oddly long limbs. Its head was large, bulbous, maybe even domed. It wore something metallic, a suit that shimmered in the sun like chrome, tight to its frame. The thing held a black object in its hand, small, cylindrical, like a tool or a scanner. Ronnie froze. He watched, unblinking, as the figure kneeled and pressed the object into the dirt, as if collecting a sample. Then, just as quickly, it turned, walked behind the craft, and vanished. Seconds later, the sphere was gone. No sound, no smoke, no wind. Just nothing. Not even a breeze to explain what had just happened. But that smell, that weird chemical tang, lingered in the air for hours. Ronnie took 3 photos. Only one came out even remotely usable. It's grainy, unclear. Some say you can make out a faint silhouette, a leg, a shape. Others see nothing but light leaks or smudges. But once you hear the story, the image becomes harder to ignore. There's a weight to it, a hum. There was no local news coverage, no police reports, no official records of any kind. Just Ronnie, his camera, and a single roll of film. So, what happened? That's the question people have asked ever since. Skeptics say Ronnie likely saw a weather balloon, a stray piece of farm equipment, or imagine the whole thing under the influence of heat stroke and adolescent nerves. Others think he faked it for attention. After all, he was a kid. Kids tell stories, but believers point to the details: the metallic suit, the instrument, the chemical smell, the silence, the sudden disappearance without a trace. These aren't the kind of details a small-town boy in 1967 would invent. Especially not when the cost of claiming something like this was ridicule, not fame. And then there's the timing. The late 1960s were filled with wonder, tension, and a growing cultural obsession with the unknown. The Cold War had everyone on edge. The space race had people looking skyward. UFO sightings were rising across the country, especially in rural areas. It was a time when the idea of others, from space, from the future, from anywhere, but here, started to feel more plausible. Was Ronnie part of that moment? Just another boy caught in the storm of paranoia and possibility? Or did something actually visit him? Ronnie Hill never got rich off his story. He didn't go on talk shows or sell a book. He told his story, shared his photo, and then lived his life. But the incident never really disappeared. It lived on, whispered in UFO circles, discussed on message boards, dissected by skeptics and believers alike. because something about it feels unfinished. Maybe that's the real reason it stays with us. Not because of proof, but because of possibility. What if Ronnie was telling the truth? What if that quiet afternoon in 1967 was a real encounter? What if someone or something came here just long enough to take a sample of our world and leave? Or maybe the story sticks because it reminds us of something deeper, that at the edge of ordinary life, there are moments that break the rules. Moments that feel like a message, even if we can't read it. Thank you for joining me in today's episode of The Oddcast. Keep your eyes open and your camera ready. And remember, stay curious.